And we're rolling.
Okay, this is about another experience after I moved to Florida, which was a fucking cesspool of fucking shit. I talked about Florida in the last one we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I covered George Carlin was the last thing. Then I talked about moving to Florida. So we did 3 tonight. That's not bad.
No. And we saw, I think, 2 movies earlier. And part of that other one. Yeah, okay.
Okay, it was back on April 20. I didn't know it was 420.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I didn't know it was 420.
Yeah.
And it was the day after Easter when I was misfortunate enough to have spent my first 5 months of living in Florida, and things were about to get a lot worse as get ready, as I am about to share with you one of the worst things I got to experience in my entire life.
Oh, no.
Before I moved to Florida, I was in vocational rehab in the Chicago area because I had a difficult time in finding and keeping a job, and I was diagnosed with some type of disability. When I moved to Florida, I got into vocational rehab there because I failed to find a job in the Chicago area, which means that I was forced to move there with my parents to that shithole state and that horrible place that... Oh, I forgot to tell you the dew point in shit Florida's 2 fingers up your ass, 71. But anyway, before they were going to place me on a regular job, they decided to send me to Goodwill Industries in West Palm Beach, which is a sheltered workshop, but they told me that I would be there for only 2 weeks. I was there for 5 months.
Wow.
The longer I was there, the more I hated it and the worse it got. The agenda behind sending me there was to indoctrinate me into becoming a brain-dead conformist and treating me like shit. All of the women who were my supervisors all turned out to be fucking cunts. Except Trisha, who was nice to me most of the time, but by June 1987, when Susan came along, and just about everyone hated her guts, and she was kind of a cunt to me from time to time, but she wasn't nearly as horrible as Luann. One thing is some boxes would get delivered, and when I would open up the boxes, I really enjoyed popping the plastic bubbles.
Yeah.
And there was a deaf guy there who also enjoyed popping the plastic bubbles. When Luann saw me popping the plastic bubbles, she said, "That is the most stupid, ridiculous thing I have ever seen anyone do." I also think Luann might have been a lesbian, but she was still a fucking cunt. Luann told me that I needed to cut my fingernails. Luann was not only a fucking cunt, but she was a first-class authoritarian fucking cunt who was a control freak fucking piece of shit who felt that she had to stick her fucking nose in my fucking business. The head supervisor, Carolyn, was also a fucking cunt. Every day she walked around with this evil frown on her face. As I was down to my last couple of days of being there, I decided to wear a t-shirt that had the word bitch written all over it. It said things like, "All you do is bitch, you little bitch, life's a bitch, 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 bitch." Well, Carolyn made me go into the bathroom and turn the t-shirt inside out, and she said, "That is very inappropriate." Apparently, the problem was what was written on that t-shirt reminded Carolyn too much of what she really is, and she couldn't handle it. Carolyn wasn't just an uptight fucking cunt with no sense of humor, but she was a snowflake. There was another supervisor, Joanna, who was also a fucking cunt who treated me like shit, but on the last day that I was at that god-awful, horrible place, she decided to be nice to me, so at least she decided to look into her soul and redeem herself from the sins she committed, and I ain't even pissed off at her, but for Louisiana, I still hate her fucking guts to this very day. In case you're not familiar with Palm Beach and West Palm Beach is loaded with stuck-up, snotty, rich assholes who get to live in multi-million-dollar mansions, while West Palm Beach is infested with homeless people, scum, poverty, and crack houses. That Goodwill Industries was in a neighborhood of poverty, filth, and shit. The parking lot had all kinds of broken glass, and there were piles of dog shit in the parking lot as well. Or it might have been pit bull shit, I don't remember right now. And every day the weather was so fucking hot out, and nothing is more enjoyable than the smell of dog shit baking in 90-degree heat when the dew points are in the 70s. Actually, it was like being in hell, which I went through so much of, thanks to my parents and their stupidity for deciding to move to that repulsive cesspool of shit. Now, some people may be wondering, this is something that happened over 27 years ago. Oh shit, now I'm losing track. It's now... Oh fuck. That was in 1987. How many years ago was that?
97, 2007, no, 87, 97, 2007, 17, 18, 19.
45 years?
34? Wait, that doesn't sound right.
No, it'll be 45 years, I think.
Something like that.
Or was it? No.
No, 87, 97, 2007, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 34.
Next year's it's so close to 2022. Let's just make it 35.
35.
35. Yeah. It'll be 35. So, okay, it's because this is kind of outdated. Now, some people may be wondering if this is something that happened close to 35 years ago, so why am I still getting so worked up over this experience? It may have something to do with being afraid that it might end up happening again. This wasn't the first time I went through that type of shit, but it was the third time I went through that type of shit. The first time that I went through that shit was when I was in special ed and they treated me like shit when I was living in the Chicago area, but at least the weather wasn't too fucking hot all the time there. And the second time that I went through something like this is when I went to Ray Graham Association, which was also another sheltered workshop, which was another. But that I was living in the Chicago area, but at least with that place, the people in charge were nice. Also, I needed to do my part to expose Goodwill Industries for what they are, unless they improve. Maybe you should give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully they did. I need to tell the world that people who, at least at the time, were in charge of Goodwill Industries are scum. They are supposed to be helping people with disabilities, not treating them like shit and fucking them over by paying them a salary that is less than minimum wage. That means they are even worse than Walmart. Another reason I am so worked up over this experience is because instead of going through this shit, someone should have taught me about applying the law of attraction, because once that happens, I will be assured of never having to go through this type of shit again, in which I can get a healing and finally be able to move on to something much more enriching. Now, vocational rehab decided to send me to Goodwill so I could have an quote-unquote observation, and they kept me there as long as did because I was too antisocial and I had bad communication skills, which sounds a lot like I could have had Asperger's. But back then, people weren't even aware of Asperger's, or most people weren't aware of them. But I had some disability, and I will never know what the fuck it was, and they destroyed all my records. But I now remember that from when I was in special ed, it wasn't Asperger's, it was because I was a nonconformist, it was considered a behavior disorder. Have you heard of that shit?
Yeah, I think it's bullshit.
There were two people who I met at Goodwill, and I strongly suspect that they had Asperger's. There was this one guy who constantly talked about how he thought that place sucked, and this was this other supervisor who was this Haitian guy asshole who told him that he had a bad attitude. Many people with Asperger's are accused of having a bad attitude.
Yeah.
There was this other girl, Nancy, who was Jewish, and she was depressed most of the time. Being at that place was certainly enough to cause depression. Well, she was a critical thinker and an independent thinker, and she hated that place with a passion. And if that's not enough, that supervisor, Susan, who most people hated, told Nancy that she was not supposed to get up and walk around, and she called her the Gestapo. Susan said that she took that as a comment and a compliment. Talk about violating the standards of political correctness by saying something like that to a Jew.
Wow.
Nancy was also fired from Goodwill because she was too slow. I was only able to find out about that after I ran into her at the Boynton Beach Mall. I thought that Goodwill was supposed to be helping people, but of course that's a load of bullshit. Now I had to get involved with Goodwill for a while recently. Yeah, I did have to get involved with them in the Twin Cities because I had to find out about how many hours I can work.
Oh, yeah.
Disability. But at least they were nice to me there, so
yeah.
I hope that things are improving. The only people who were at Goodwill who were happy were the retarded people. People who are retarded are happy because they are too stupid to know that this world sucks. Archie Bunker said that.
I remember, yeah.
Well, they're too stupid to know how lousy.
Wasn't that the episode where this retarded guy was working at a grocery store and he used to deliver groceries and he was inappropriate to Gloria?
Well, that's just what Archie said.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Goodwill is not a good place for people with Asperger's, and it has only been 20 years since people were aware of this condition. Well, now it's a little longer. It's probably maybe 25 years now. And as I said earlier, at least people at the Ray Graham in the Chicago area were nice, but I was also with a bunch of retards, and I hate it when they have to stick people with Asperger's with a bunch of retards, and I don't think that Asperger's should be labeled a disorder, but it should be considered an alternative lifestyle. And I hope that you may have noticed that I am a bit feisty, and when a person with Asperger's who is feisty is like having Asperger's on steroids, which is fucking beautiful. And did I go too long?
It's 11:08, yeah.
I got 3 minutes for feedback.
Okay. Well, that was very good, and it certainly sheds a new light on Goodwill, because I've always heard that they were in the business of helping people who are disabled.
Well, I told you about them way back in 1990.
Yeah.
Don't you remember that?
Well, yeah, I remember, but I mean, anyone seeing this video that didn't know about it.
Oh yeah, I told my mother about the Carolyn threatening to send me home for wearing the bitch shirt, and of course my mother was on her side.
Oh, of course, you should have known nothing.
It was so awful that I wore a shirt like that. Because my mother believed that people had the right to not be offended. But of course, I was offended with the way she treated me, and she called me a little shit and called me an asshole.
Oh, you see, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You see, it's okay for a conformist to treat a nonconformist like shit. That's fine,
you know. Swear.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to get the fuck out of that place. This was before I didn't mention it, but because I was pissed because they thought I was too antisocial, so they kept getting me there for an extended period of time. And I said that they were trying to control me, and my father said I should be controlled. Which, of course, only made me go into a rampage.
Well, yeah, that's a perfect example of your father not believing in the law of attraction, because he was focusing on everything he didn't want, and that's what happened.
And how much time now?
It's 12:45.
So, okay, so, what the fuck was I going to say now? Something with my parents. Oh, I think both my mother and father probably had Asperger's.
Yeah, I think my parents might have too, and I'm sure my brother has it to some degree.
My father said a lot of inappropriate things.
Oh, well,
my mother to embarrass her.
Yeah, well, that's a sign of it. Yeah.
But it seems like people with Asperger's sometimes can be your worst assholes, especially if they're parents.
Yeah.
Remember that fucking cunt? I certainly want to bring this up for as much time as I got left. What is it at?
Okay, about 13 and a half minutes.
As I was at that artist group with disabilities, of course, I mentioned a lot of fucking cunts there. But it was just a few days before I was going to have my hearing to get me approved for disability, and I had to meet with the lawyer and everything. And she told me I was dressed inappropriate, not because the shirt was obscene or anything, but because it was kind of torn. And I said I should dress the way I want, and then she responded by saying, she responded by being a total fucking cunt. She told me that she doesn't, her kid, 14-year-old, has Asperger's, and she doesn't let him dress in any way that's appropriate. And then she tells me, you may be an Aspie, but you're going to have to grow up. And then she ran out the door.
Sounds like a snowflake.
And a cunt.
Well, definitely a cunt. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I got her mentioned.
Yeah, that was certainly relevant.
But amazingly, with that artist group where most of the people are snowflakes, people really didn't want her to be there. Not that her art was offensive, but the way her attitude was.
Her attitude sucked, and she
rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, we are running out of time, so I'm gonna have to shut this now.